man, we're going to blow past this year and we're going to keep running up. Every bull market in the history of Bitcoin tends to peter out around the Christmas time of the year following the halvening, which we had. The schedule really is for this bull market to peter out around December onwards. And currently the on-chain data is saying otherwise. What is the top for Bitcoin? When will it happen? And now that we're approaching our fourth quarter, the data looks quite different from any other cycle we've seen before. And people keep thinking that we'll, template this bull bear cycle to past ones. If you look on chain structurally, everything looks different. It's a fair chance that we'll not go into what we think, which is a traditional, Bitcoin bear market, which generally is a huge retrace of maybe 80% of its value, and it also takes about 9 months to a year to shake out. I don't think that's going to happen, judging from the maturity of this market and the impacts of the different parts of the demand and supply from different parts of the ecosystem. We're breaking out of this 4-year cycle, which was really contingent on the network being programmed to have newly mined coins every 4 years. Like that drop in the new coins being dumped onto the market is now quite insignificant, and I think that taking that all into account and what I'm seeing on chain, I don't think we're going to have what we see these normal 4-year cycles again. I'm calling this the last cycle, and people think that's very somber and bearish. No, I mean, like, this thing does a drunk walk of ups and downs, trending upwards as it finds its, adoption for indefinite amounts of time. These 4-year cycles are gone. That's what I think might be happening, which is, I think it's a big revelation, because that's against the expectation of what the majority think. We'll see if that plays out. 300 and 400,000 was the projected per band for December, and that keeps changing because as we get closer, we get more price information. And now it's like 200,000 is where it might be the upper bound. But if you take into the context of this other on-chain data we have, we're not going to have a market top, like a traditional cyclic market top, where everything goes into a mania phase and everything runs up, and then we have a blow-off top and we come back down. We have this drunken walk. It's like the S&P 500. It just keeps wandering upwards. People basically want to know when are they going to sell their coins and go to cash and wait out another year till this thing bottoms. And it's just interesting. It just means maybe you shouldn't be selling. It's faster than any other network. Mobile networks, that was faster than the internet, and Bitcoin's rolling out faster than mobile networks. So in 4 years' time, if 1 billion people are on this network, and this network's growing at the rate of nearly double per year, we're going to see a fair chunk of the world using this network by the end of the decade. But in 4 years, 1 billion people, 2% of the world is on this network. It doesn't look like much, but this is all exponential growth. So we're at 2.5% of the world population, and it's 12 years old. And that's not halfway. It's in the end game of Bitcoin's growth, because in 4 years, it's 1/8 of the world population. The other 4 years, it's like full saturation. Please skip the cycle. The fundamental driver of these cycles is so inconsequential in power that there's no more cycles that we've seen, these big super waves. This is the last super wave, and that super wave is the big one that lasts for a decade and keeps going up to, billions of people using it. But I've heard there's been, major companies buying. I can see it on chain. Like, there was 2 major buys, probably in the $1 billion class. One was 2 months ago when price was about $33,000, and then we had another chunk of buying about 4 weeks ago as price started to really shoot upwards from that bottom. Yeah, there's been some significant buying, certainly.
Tipping point energy is the point at which, when enough of a trend is adopted within a specific population, it becomes inevitable that it will now become the norm. And that tipping point is usually around 15%, right? When 15% of the first world adopts something, it's usually a year to 18 months before the whole world adopts it. We saw that with smartphones, right? These existed for, I think it was almost 20 years before we saw tipping point energy, right? As soon as we hit 15%, within a year, everyone on the planet had cell phones. I think it was something like 18 months. We saw the same thing with the internet, right? The internet got a slow start, and then as soon as we hit 15% penetration in Europe and North America first, within a year, all of Europe and North America was on the internet. And within a year of that, the whole world had gone internet. But by and large, the internet is now the way we do business on this planet, right? And that's what tipping point energy is all about.
So what you're saying is we're about to go through a Bitcoin and cryptocurrency super cycle next year?
Yeah, very, very likely. We are beyond tipping point energy in first world countries.
What you're really saying is there is no top.
I would agree with that. Bitcoin will always be a store of value, and it will never come back down into the basement.
Holy crap. We could see unbelievable prices for Bitcoin in the coming year, right? So it's going to be an interesting ride.